Let us all rise for a moment of silence for Adobe's lockdown on the creative market for hobbyists and small businesses. They had a good run, 30, 40 years, but the time has come, the torch is being passed. All hail the rise of Affinity. So for the creative professional, the creative hobbyist, the name Adobe is synonymous with basically doing your work. Adobe's products have been around for decades now. They run the gamut from illustration to animation to video editing to After Effects and post-production. If there's something you can do with creative media, Adobe has their hands in it. And in a lot of ways, they have a monopoly on it. And that's kind of become a problem in the last few years. Adobe products have always been insanely expensive, running from the high hundreds to thousands of dollars to buy a license for this product. A product's gonna be obsolete in a couple years when they release a new version. However, it's gotten even worse in the last few years with the introduction of the Adobe Creative Cloud. For the uninitiated, the Adobe Creative Cloud is a subscription service for all of Adobe's products. On the surface, this sounds like a great idea. Taking multiple programs that cost $1,000 and letting you basically rent them all for $50 a month. The problem for a lot of people, including myself, is that $50 a month is a lot of money. And I've never really been too keen on the idea of a subscription service for a piece of software in general because it adds up. If I added up the amount of time that I've used Adobe products and applied the Creative Cloud monthly subscription service to them, I'd have spent, I think, somewhere in the vicinity of $8,000 on these products. And to me, that's too much money. And so when I think about getting a Creative Cloud license, as convenient on the surface as it would be, I'm going to be using these products for decades. I'm going to be paying monthly for them for decades. And to me, that's a non-starter. And it's a non-starter to a lot of other people too. There's been a huge backlash against Adobe from hobbyists that are priced out of this business market. A lot of us, but certainly not me, no, absolutely not, have resorted to software piracy to get these programs. But because of the introduction of the Creative Cloud, it makes pirating these programs much more difficult because they always need to be connected to the internet and require a subscription and can't use a simple crack on them. There are ways to get around it, but the whole entire kind of gray market downloading cracked versions of Adobe software has really started to just bottom out with the introduction of the Creative Cloud. And I think that's probably the biggest underpinning of why Creative Cloud was introduced in the first place. Enter Serif. Serif is a company that has been making graphic software for a while, but they made a big splash in 2013 with the introduction of the Affinity suite with Affinity Designer. It was a full-fledged, full-stop, no two bones about it, Adobe Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator competitor program. It was something clearly designed from the beginning, taking aim squarely at Adobe's dominance and monopoly on this market and saying, we can do this just as well as you, and more importantly, we can do it for $50. For $50, we're gonna give you the entire application, not as a monthly Creative Cloud service subscription. That $50 is gonna get you access to the program forever with free updates. This was a revolution because even people who have pirated them, which was not me at all, could afford this. And I did. I went out and I bought this program. The problem was, it's only for the Macintosh. So for the majority of people out there who are using Windows, this program wasn't available. So on the Mac side, these are great. If you look at job listings for small companies and stuff, they're starting to say they'd rather prefer people using the Affinity suite than they want Adobe because it's obviously far cheaper to get these on all their systems for work and stuff, especially if you're a small business and don't have a lot of cash to throw around. So Affinity's already making big waves on the Mac, but until it comes to the PC and is cross-platform, it's never going to have the ability to truly dethrone Adobe, which is what it was born to do. Until a couple weeks ago, when Serif announced that the Affinity suite is currently being ported to Windows, with a beta coming out in a few months. This is the beginning of the end, I think, of Adobe's dominance with creative software. They've had this position of being the de facto number one forever, since the first version of Adobe Illustrator launched on the original Macintosh. They've been the guys. And there are lots of other software choices you can use, but none of them really have the polish and the feature set that the Adobe suite has. Affinity is changing that, and because it's on the PC now, it's going to be available for everybody at a vastly reduced cost compared to what Adobe's offering. This is going to cause big changes. We're either going to have one of two things happen. Either one, Affinity is going to completely dominate the hobbyist market, because there's a lot of people like myself who don't work in the industry but like doing these things in their spare time and trying to make a career out on YouTube and whatever. They're going to jump on Affinity because it's a way better value proposition, especially when you're just doing it for yourself. And I think, again, if you look at, my sister's moving to Portland, Oregon, and she's a graphic designer. She's looking at jobs over there, and a lot of the small companies in Portland are saying they want Affinity knowledge, not Adobe. So we're already seeing that shift take place when it's only on the Mac. But when it comes to Windows, it's gonna get a lot bigger. So either this is gonna completely take the low end, the hobbyist, and the small business market away from Adobe, or Adobe's gonna have to counter and come back with something of their own. A lighter version, something higher end than Photoshop Express, but not as maybe full featured as the Adobe Creative Cloud apps, and release them for a nominal $50, $75, $100 price to keep some of these customers in their ecosystem. Because make no mistake about it, Adobe still has way more plugins and a much more established ecosystem. You know, 30 years on the market is much more time to get established than 3 years on the market. But that's up to Adobe. The ball's in their court now. Serap's playing to win. And it's going to be really interesting over the next year and a half, once these products all come out, how they do. I'm really excited. I will definitely be reviewing and talking about these products more once the Windows versions hits. I've already signed up for the beta. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to sign up for the beta. Interesting times ahead. So, my name is Tom Oliver. You guys have been watching Rebel Pixels, a channel all about empowering and passioning the DIY creative here on the web. If that's you, if you live and die by your heart, you should hit that subscribe button below and join the rebellion. Every week I try and make videos just like this, helping inspire and empower and impassion the creatives here who watch to make the best things that they can do, either by kind of talking about technical things like this, new software releases or reviews of hardware, or if it's kind of a more personal video talking about my trials and tribulations as an artist and passing on what I've learned the hard way to you guys so you can succeed where I screwed up. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button, join the family, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the Affinity suite. Have you heard about it before this video? And if you haven't, definitely check it out and let me know what you think compared to Adobe. So, until next time, I'm Tommy Oliver, this is Rebel Pixels, reminding you guys, we might be indie. That doesn't mean that we're alone. Catch you all in the next one.